My parents sold my $3,600 dream PC to fund my sister's shopping spree. I stayed quiet and packed my bags, but what I did next unraveled their entire plan to keep me powerless. My parents sold my $3,600 custom-built dream PC. I found out because Tiffany came home with 5 luxury shopping bags, and they told me she deserved it more than I needed a machine. I didn't scream. I didn't even cry. I just stood there in our hallway, staring at the empty desk in my room where my rig used to be. The triple monitors were gone. The tower with the custom liquid cooling loop I'd spent 8 months saving for gone. The drawing tablet Ethan gifted me last Christmas, gone too. Instead, there was a post-it note on the desk, my mom's handwriting. "We're proud of how far you've come. Sonny, you'll find new ways to create. Love you, Mom." That stupid heart at the end burned more than the empty space. Let me back up. My name's Sonny Hartman. I'm 22, a freelance designer and small Twitch streamer. I never had much, but I was finally starting to build something that felt like mine. That PC wasn't just a computer, it was my workbench, my stage, my lifeline. I earned every cent of it through sleepless nights designing promo art for indie games and late-night commissions just to keep rent steady. I lived at home, yeah, but not for free. I paid half the utilities, bought my own food, and fixed every busted Wi-Fi problem in that house since I was 14. My parents liked to say they treated us equally. They said we were a balanced household, which was total BS. Tiffany, my 18-year-old sister, had never paid a bill in her life. She failed her college entrance exams twice and still got rewarded with a weekend trip to New York. On my dad's dime, every time she whined, things just magically appeared: new phone, new clothes, new perfume line she wanted to influence for. She called herself a content creator. But all she did was post hauls and coffee selfies. Meanwhile, I'd been pulling all-nighters just to get 2 new clients this month. It wasn't even about fairness anymore, it was about survival. The day they sold my setup, Tiffany was waiting in the kitchen with a smug smile. She was wearing a blush-colored coat I'd seen on a Nordstrom ad for $450. I looked at my mom. "Where is my PC?" She blinked like it was no big deal. "You aren't using it that much anymore. I stream on it 3 times a week. I do all my client work on it." My dad interjected, "Sonny, you've been under so much pressure. We just thought maybe it was time to take a break, step back, take a break from working, from paying rent to you." Tiffany rolled her eyes and said, "God, why do you always make everything so dramatic?" And that's when I knew, not just that they'd chosen her over me, that part wasn't new, but that they never even saw me as someone with boundaries. They saw me as disposable. Like my time, my effort, my space, all of it could be traded the moment Tiffany wanted a new wardrobe refresh. I packed that night, not because I had somewhere to go, I didn't. Ethan lived across town in a 1-bedroom apartment with his cousin. No space, no backup plan, but I needed distance. Before I left, I checked my Google account linked to my PC and saw something weird. A system auto-log into my cloud backup from a device I didn't recognize. It happened 2 days ago, the same day Tiffany complained at dinner about how annoying it was that I had better gear than most YouTubers. It wasn't just a sale, it was a setup. I couldn't finish the whole story in this short. The full story is on my channel and linked below.